Alright, so it's been a while since I did a Let's Play. 1997, October 1st, the end day. Savage war engulfs the world. Civilization is destroyed. An evolution had taken place. The Earth's axis shifted and all creatures became mutated. Life would never be the same. Those surviving vowed not to repeat their mistakes of the past and erected a great tower in the sky to oppress evil forever. And that's right, you guessed it. If you didn't know already what this was gonna be, it's Crystalis. And this game is probably one of my favorite games from my childhood. This is actually top 2 NES games, so let's just jump right in. A 100 years have passed. Most of the Earth has become dominated by mutated creatures. People worked together to rebuild their villages and their lives, but they still lived in fear. As they feared the rebirth of evil, they remembered the construction of the tower and its consequences once activation had begun. Once evil emerged, would they still stand a chance? There was still one hope. And so it begins. Program 0256 functional, system 1024 functional, condition green, input code name. Well, let's go with my name. So, you're about to see a game that was very similar to the top-down action RPGs of the Nintendo era. This was a lot like Zelda in that respect. And there's kind of this, you know, I don't want to talk too much for some of this because it's such a great game that I want you to experience it, but I'm going to be reading a lot of the NPC dialogue, and I'm also going to be explaining a lot of what I know about this game. I actually know quite a few things over the years. So anyways, we have just come out of this chamber. It's actually a cryogenic stasis chamber, so let's go outside. Hey, there's a guy coming out of the cave. And that guy would be me. So, here we go, into town.
This is the village of Leaf. There are great dangers outside of town. Please be careful.
Alright.
Oh, it's you. I'm sorry I ran from you when we first met. Zebu says he's having a hard time with the windmill guard. He's always sleeping.
So this looks like a pleasant little town. Did you visit the Elder's house yet? Nope. Could this be it? Let's check it out. You have finally awoken. This money is from the wise man Zebu. It's yours. Or Zebu. I always called him Zebu, but I guess this is a Japanese game, so it's probably Zebu. Alright, so we got $100. Cash rules everything around me. Alright, so let's go into the inn. Need to rest? Please stay. It will cost you $16. No, because I have full hit points. So if you look down at the bottom, you'll see a HUD. You'll see life with a life meter. You'll see force, which I'll explain in a minute. EX is experience points. We have 0 out of 30. When we get 30, we'll level up, which will bring our level from 1 to 2. We have $100 in cash, and we have 34 out of 34 magic points. So this game is a lot like Zelda in that it's a top-down action, you know, sword fighting game of sorts. The wind here is always cold, but we're used to it. But you'll notice in this game there's a lot of RPG elements like HP, MP, leveling up, and so forth. So this is a tool shop. We could buy a medical herb for $30, an antidote for $40. This just cures or heals HP. This cures poison. Warp boots for $60. Those will bring us back to town, and the alarm flute for $50, which I'll explain later. But we're not going to buy any of that stuff right now. Let's go into here. Armor shop. Do you wish to buy tanned hide and carapace shield? Now, I really want to get one of these, but wait, what the hell? I have $70. Oh shit. You know what? I accidentally bought. Okay, hold on. So I accidentally bought a medical herb. So that kind of sucks because I didn't want to buy a medical herb. Money is pretty valuable in this game.
QQ.
Alright. Bunny in a garage or storage area, no big deal. This is the last house to go to. There's an old windmill to the north, but I've never seen it working. Alright, let's talk to this guy.
I'm the village elder. You awoke from inside the cave, didn't you? We were told you would arrive. You are our last hope. Receive this sword to protect you on your quest. This and others like it will guide you.
See, it's straight out of Zelda. You now have the Sword of Wind.
Do-do-do-do. Please be careful. Our destiny is in your hands.
So, this is what's cool about this game. We now have the Sword of Wind, which we've equipped. And we can stab the children, stab the old man. No, you can't actually stab the NPCs, but you can go out here and start stabbing enemies. So now we are in the overworld of Crystalis. This is where it all really begins, and soon enough we will see enemies like this blue slime, which is actually, in the terms of the game, they refer to it as the Nuper, N-U-P-E-R. Not sure exactly what that means, but that's just what they call it. There's also other enemies out here. It's actually pretty desolate right now, but enemies will start spawning in. We have these, what look like were-tigers. So, you know, it's your basic, you know, walk around, stab enemies, get hit by enemies, and make a chirping sound kind of game. You know, fun times. But you may notice every time I swing my sword, my force meter is trying to build up. And that's because every time you press the button, the force meter starts building, and every time you release it, he attacks. So if I actually hold down the force meter, it'll build up a charge, and then I can launch a projectile, which is really awesome. Right now we're using the Sword of Wind, so we're shooting a wind beam. And there'll be more on that later. So right now what we're trying to do is we're just trying to maybe grind on a few of these enemies. For every enemy I kill, I'm getting, I think, these enemies yield about 1 experience point. Let's check it out. Yeah, 1 experience point, and they drop a coin. So the coin is worth, let's see. The were-tigers give me 2 coins, and I think the slimes give me 1. I remember when I was little, I was just obsessed with, like, cataloging everything in this game. So what I did was, I pretty much wrote down all of the enemies, I gave them a name, and I tried to draw like their sprite, and I wrote down how much experience they gave and how much gold they gave, and I think I even tried to like figure out how much HP they had. But anyways, I was a nerd. That's the end of the story. So right now I'm just kind of exploring the perimeter. We found a cave, let's go in here. And you move pretty fast, you know, this is like, you know, there's a lot of ground to cover, but your guy, he's just booking it most of the time. I'm called Zebu. Paul, you are the one we have been waiting for. Try to make the windmill work. If you can do this, I will teach you some magic. Alright, so this is the wise man Zebu. Use your power to open the way. Alright, so now we've got this wall here that we can't walk past. And I'll explain that in a bit. That actually is a wall made of ice, which we will need a certain item to pass. So Zebu's in this cave chilling out. Wise man, that, you know, typical wise man activity. So he wants us to power a windmill, which we haven't even seen yet. So let's go check it out. You have to be careful, because, okay, so that looks like the windmill, but we can't get to it from here, so let's go around. And this game had a really kickin' soundtrack. Okay, we're getting a little low on hit points. So I could head back to town. Let me see here. It's just, you know, I know it might be a waste to use this now, but we're gonna use it anyways. And I did notice that when I attack enemies with my sword, like, in its melee, it does, like, full damage, but if I use the projectile, it does, like, a little less, so. Alright, we're in a cave now. Z. So there's a sleeping guy just sleeping in a cave, no big deal. Let's go out here. And we are in the windmill, and I'm not going to pretend like I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because I've played this game dozens of times, I'm sure. So the thing is, we need to wake that guy up. So if you guys remember, there was an alarm flute in the town. So let's go buy the alarm flute and hopefully not get killed on the way, because we'll probably end up losing everything we've gained. So in this game, there might be a little bit of grinding. I'm going to try to keep it light. I'm going to try to, you know, move forward and do what I need to do to progress through the game, because, you know, this isn't a game that we're going to beat in like 5 videos. This isn't like a game that's going to take, you know, an hour or 2 to beat. This is going to take probably several hours to play through. And hopefully if you guys... Alright, excellent, your level is increased. Alright, so with leveling up, our level goes up, our maximum life goes up. If you notice, the bar got a little longer. I think MP might go up. I think we had 34 before, but anyways. I think our attacks do more damage. So let me explain some of these sub-menus. So here is where we equip our swords. We have 4 slots for swords, 4 slots for armor, 4 slots for shield, and 4 slots for power. Right now we only have 1 sword, so that's all we've got equipped. On the next screen, we have item slots and magic slots, and we don't have any of that right now. We had a medical orb, but we used it. We can save the game there, and there's also this menu screen, which gives us our condition, which is like your status. Like if you get poisoned, you can get poisoned or paralyzed or turned to stone in this game, you know, your typical fantasy RPG status afflictions. We've got our level, our attack power, which does increase with level up. We've got our defense, and our life. Our life is 50 out of 60. The defense is showing as 2-2 because 1 is the defense of our, well, first of all, it's a base stat. Like, I think the defense is reflecting our level. So since we're level 2, our armor defense is 2 and our shield defense is 2, but buying armors and shield will bring up those defenses. And I think shield defense relates to projectiles and armor defense relates to melee attacks. I mean, I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty damn sure that that's how it works. So right now we're just killing some enemies, trying to get some money. Actually, let's go back to town. I don't want to go back to town with, like, too little money, because I want to try to buy some armor while I'm there, not just the flute. But we are going to get that alarm flute, and then we're going to maybe buy either a shield or armor if we can afford it. So I think the armor is $100, and the alarm flute is 50, so ideally I want to go back with 150, but I'm not going to get too stressed out about it. And it doesn't hurt to get experience either. So there is a level cap in this game. The level cap is 16, so once you've reached level 16 you can't go above that. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to bore you guys with grinding too much in this game, so let's just head back to town now. And we can always get that stuff later. So we're back in this is called the Village of Leaf, I believe. And yes, I want to buy the alarm flute. No, I don't want to buy anything else. And we've almost got enough for that armor. But we could buy the carapace shield, so let's buy that. Just because it looks cool. And I really love this concept as a kid. I love the idea of a shield being a turtle shell. And look at that. So if we unequip it, we don't have a shield. If we equip the shield, suddenly our character's avatar has a shield. So awesome. And if we check our stats, now look at that. Our defense is 2-4. So the ladder number is our shield defense. So that goes up when we equip or upgrade our shield. So I'm going to kill everything on the way, because obviously the next thing I want to buy is the tanned hide armor, which is going to give us some defense, some more defense. But I think what the shield is giving us, like I said, I think that the shield defense is relates to projectile attacks, which we haven't even seen enemies. Whoa, hey now. We haven't even seen enemies yet that even have projectile attacks, so the armor would have probably been the better investment at this point, but, you know, we got excited. Alright, so let's talk to this guy now. Okay, he's still asleep, so let's go into our inventory and select the alarm flute. And now let's play it. And he wakes right up.
Huh? What was that? Don't do that again. It's you. Please don't tell Zebu. Take this to start the windmill. Zebu says a strange ball is hidden in these caves. He says it can break rock walls.
You now have the Windmill Key. Alright. Alright, so Zebu speaks of a strange ball that's hidden in the caves that can break rock walls. Well, we did see a wall earlier that looked like it could be broken, but that looked like an ice wall, not a rock wall, so... let's select our Windmill Key. Whoops. Now using Windmill Key. The windmill begins to work. Alright, there we go. Gears are turning. And the windmill is turning, and it just so happened to blow up a cave opening over there, so... First things first, let's go back to Zebu. He's going to teach us some magic, he said, if we could get that windmill to work, so we are on it. So a little bit about Crystalis. This was, in Japan, this game was called Godslayer, which is interesting. They probably couldn't have localized it to the US in the late 80s under that title. But this game came out on the Famicom, and that's the Nintendo Entertainment System in the US, as you all know, and this game was released in either 1989 or 1990 in the US. I would say it's somewhere around that time. As you can see, it's basically a story about a world, perhaps our world, that was ravaged by a nuclear war, and pretty much everything went back to basics. You know, we're now fighting with swords and armor and magic again. You know, we've kind of either renounced technology or just lost it completely, because we're back in this kind of medieval setting, and now all the animals are now mutated monsters that want to kill us. So that's basically the premise of the game, and, you know, if you remember from the opening intro, there was the whole floating tower in the sky. That was basically built as like a mobile defense system to eradicate evil, which is really awesome if you ask me. You have done well. I will now teach you the magic of Refresh. You now have Refresh. Alright, so in this game, in addition to having swords and shields and armor and items, we also have magic. So the magic of Refresh, once we've equipped it, we can just hit the other... Okay, so we've got the sword button, we just hit the B button to use our magic, and that drains MP, but the magic of Refresh, as you can see, restores our life. So that's extremely useful, and it will continue to be useful throughout the game. That's the cool thing about the magic in this game, is it never really becomes obsolete. So, we could stick around grinding, you know, bringing up our level to level 3, and, you know, earning enough money to buy the tanned hide armor, which is what I'd usually do. But since I'm doing a Let's Play, I'm going to just go straight ahead into this cave. And there is a possibility that we won't be able to harm the enemies here. Oh, but we can. So, if I had gone into this cave as a level 1 character, and I started hitting these enemies, we would get this, like, clinking sound, you know, like, bing bing, like, basically signifying that our weapon can't damage the enemies. Whoa. And, man, they have really tricky, erratic movement patterns. Oh, shit. Okay, we don't want to take too much damage. Alright, so we've actually run out of magic power now. Anyways, yeah, so there is the possibility that we'll run into enemies eventually that we won't be strong enough to damage, and hitting them won't affect them at all. It'll basically just give us a sound that says, hey, you have to go level up or find a better weapon before you can damage these enemies. Fortunately, this isn't the case with these guys. They actually fixed that in... There was a Game Boy Color port of this game where that was one of the things that they fixed. Now, personally, I don't mind it because it kind of lets me know that, hey, like, I probably shouldn't be here yet. Okay, red Nooper. We have to watch out for those ones because unlike their blue counterparts, these guys have a chance of poisoning us, and we don't have any antidote herbs with us, so if we get poisoned by one of those guys, then we could be in serious trouble because our HP will start draining away. Okay, now here is another, looks like a breakable wall, but we can't break it yet. And that one's made out of rock, so we'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's just try to carefully navigate these cave systems. And there we go, level up. And wow, our MP is up to 51 now, and our health has gone up. Winged dragon type enemy. And yeah, these guys are giving like 3 experience points and lots of gold, so good stuff in here. This is a great place to do some grinding. Oh, looks like a golem. Yep. It's just, okay, got some warp boots. He dropped a huge coin. I really, really love this game. I love everything about it. I just love the feel of the combat. I love the feel of the movement, you know, like, everything feels really fast. Like he just, like, goes freaking psycho with that sword stab. And he moves pretty fast, you know, nothing feels really sluggish. Everything just feels really good. You could just kind of pin enemies up against the wall and just spam that attack. Okay, we've got some bats here. This could be annoying. And this game, if you haven't noticed, you might not have been able to notice with me talking so much, but the music in this game is one of the best Nintendo video game soundtracks I've ever heard. Maybe not this particular music. Okay, we've come to another dead end. And see, nothing we can do to this wall is going to break it yet, but very soon we're going to have the solution to that. And here it is, the Ball of Wind. So, in this game, you get elemental swords. We start out with the Sword of Wind. We'll get like a Sword of Water, a Sword of Fire. I won't tell you everything because I don't want to spoil it. But each elemental sword has a corresponding ball. And when you equip that ball and go back out, now you'll notice that our charge meter now has 2 levels. So not only can we charge it to the first projectile, we can actually charge it up to the second and launch a bigger, much more powerful ball. Whoa, let's not get killed. Alright, so now, whoa, you could say he's literally losing his head at our presence in this cave. Alright, so now, let's charge it up to the second ball. Bam! Now we can bring down all those stone walls. So no, let's not go that way yet because... Okay, I have to concentrate a little bit because things are getting a little risky. I have enough money for the armor that I want. Okay, that's not good. Hold on. We're out of magic power. I'm gonna end up burning this herb just because I'm in the middle of a cave right... Ah, fuck. Alright, I'm in the middle of a cave, you know, I want to get out of here alive, I want to go back to town, and I'm going to buy the armor, and possibly rest in the inn. So, everything is good right now, we haven't died yet, got a lot of money, and we've got, you know, we're like a third of the way to level 4, which is good. And, yeah, we're doing great. So I like to just walk around with my sword charged up most of the time, you know? It's just good to have that big ball, you know, ready to launch at the enemy's face at any given moment. So it had a really good mix of, like, you know, essentially this is a top-down shooter in a lot of ways. Like, it's, you know, let's break through here first. You know, you can kind of do the old melee stuff, or you can kind of opt for like a more ranged, you know, style of play. In a lot of cases, at least. Like I said, though, the projectiles always do a little bit less than the standard attacks, so yeah, there's that to worry about. So it might not damage every single enemy, but and you know what? This, I can't remember if this is actually the way forward. I don't want to inadvertently run into the... Yeah, okay, so that's going to be the boss, so we're not going to go that way, actually. And unfortunately, our magic power doesn't, you know, slowly regenerate, which would be kind of nice, but there are items that we can get later on to restore our MP as well, of course. There aren't any enemy drops in this. Like, enemies will never drop health or magic, nor will they ever drop items. But you'll always have a pretty good chance of, when exploring these caves, you know, as you've seen, we've come to several dead ends with chests at them, and that's one of the really satisfying little design elements of this game is the exploration factor, you know, just kind of going down these paths and getting a sense of, you know, of the map, and, you know, kind of being rewarded for exploring with items, which is, you know, a game mechanic as old as the genre of these games, but at the same time it just never really ceases to satisfy me. So ooh, we are out of that cave. And now look at this. We're so strong that it's only taking us one shot to kill these guys. So I'm just trying to make my way back to town. I'm probably going to rest up at the inn, grab that armor, and we're just going to go forward from here. So a little more about this game. There was a lot of influences from Miyazaki's earlier work on this game. If you've ever seen Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, or Laputa, Castle in the Sky, like, this game... Wait, hold on a sec. There we go. This game actually was inspired by a lot of that stuff, which is really cool, and you'll see more of that inspiration and influence shining through later. If you haven't already kind of noticed it. I mean, it's kind of got this, you know, standard 80s anime aesthetic to it. You know, the guy's wearing, like, well, you can't really see, but in the concept art, he's got, like, baggy pants and a bandana and armor with, like, really big shoulder pads. Speaking of which, we've got the tan hide, so now when we equip that, we can see our character has armor, if you look really closely. And now our defense... You know, in addition to us being level 3 and having all this armor, we're really good to go, so we're rocking it now. Alright, so let's go. And I'm just gonna, you know, unless the slime is like directly in my path, I'm probably just gonna skip him, except for that one. I'll go out of my way for him. And, you know, no big deal if we take some damage, because we can always heal up with our magic. And I think we have an herb, which makes things a little better. Alright. And if you remember, if you watched any of my last Let's Play game of NES games, like Biosenshi Dan, if you have this video turned up to 720p or whatever the highest, you know, resolution, yeah, 720p, I don't think I do 1080p, but even if you have it cranked up and it looks like kind of, I don't know, low quality, it's because I'm playing with some NTSC filtering on, and there's scan lines, and, you know, there's just things that kind of lend to the more authentic, you know, experience of playing these games. So it's, if you're looking for, like, super crisp, pixel perfect visuals in a Let's Play, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm kind of playing it the old school way. So that said, you know, there's some nice little, some nice little blurriness and artifacting going on some of these sprites and tiles, just to kind of add to the nostalgia factor, I guess. Just like killing those guys, because, you know, they look like, I think I got 6 experience points. Alright, so level 4, we're good. Whoa, dude. Hold on a sec. Wow, what the fuck is going on? Wow, okay. That was really weird. Whoops. Shit. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, no. Right, so in case you're wondering what the hell just happened, well, what happened was, I don't know what happened. My computer decided to take a massive dump, and the game slowed down, and when I went over to check out what the problem might have been, I tabbed out of the emulator, and that decided to crash the emulator. So everything that we just did in this video was lost. So what I'm going to do now is actually end the video, and I'm going to play the game, you know, grinding back up to everything we just did, which was like level 4, and, you know, Sword of Wind, refresh spell, all the armor. And in the next video, we're going to start with fighting the boss. Alright, well, thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you next time.